Vyrah reporting for duty. Another time together. I'm gonna do some reacts. Basically, we're gonna watch YouTube together. Some stuff to check out, some stuff to check out, some stuff to check out. I just like check out stuff, basically. All right. It is so difficult to justify the fact that I'm actually like making content out of like React content. Well, do you know what it is? Don't just fucking watching this nonsense. Just issue. Yeah, many. So visible on my fucking all right. So, let's get into it right away. I'm gonna just do real quick the this 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 this. Okay, we're good. Right. Man, I'm gonna just check something.
Long ago.
Okay, everything is working out for real. Oh fuck, I forgot something. To do something. Might as well do it now. All right. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's start off. Okay. In our official gameplay reveal trailer, let's check this out. Okay, I actually like this a lot. Interesting side scroller. Look like on the difficult side, kinda. You know, like looks like a challenging type of like side scroller with a lot of like things that like are possible and going on. Indie company that does it. Actually in the company in the studio. Yeah, seems interesting enough. Like set scrollers like are something that like I appreciate once in a while. So yeah, it seems cool. I love the art style, and I love like the mix in between like anime and side scroller. So yeah, if it's your thing, like it comes down to a lot of like this. If it's for you, well, you already know, like you found the game for you. All right. Okay, being and becoming official playtest in the studio. Let's check it out. Okay, ever told yourself I love water levels so much that that I want to make a game about it. Well, apparently this is what they thought about it, and apparently this is not. This is, but it looks good. It looks actually awesome. Like the gameplay looks awesome. It looks like unique and inspired. So, but like at the same time, it's really funny that like some people say, I'm about to to fucking become aggressive just thinking about the water level. Some people just go by and they make a fucking water level game. You know. Yeah. Side scroller as well, a side scroller as well. So yeah, if it's awesome, it's awesome. I'm pretty sure like it's not my thing. Like on this one is it's the water level that like really like it doesn't like embarks me anywhere, you know. Okay. Karakeno. Let's check it out. I must say, what a way. Okay, who is mm, mm, okay. So how is it called? So this game is like, you can see that like it's heavily inspired by Undertale. And by the good things of Undertale. I'm really rooting that like they get like what they need. Just by the trailer, I got so into this, so into the vibe, you know? Like it's so well inspired, it's so colorful, it's so like entertaining. Actually, it's really entertaining to just even watch a trailer. So imagine the game, imagine the fucking game, man. Like it's so fucking cool. I really love it. So they have a Kickstarter. So please like try to support them on the Kickstarter. It will be really awesome. Like because like this is really like these people really seem to love what they do and seem to really like our like trying to do something about it. So yeah, this is so fucking awesome. Mm. Okay, so I've seen this game Eliana on TikTok actually, and I actually love the art style. I wanted to say a little bit more, and I really root for this creator. I really wish like I really hope that like he gets to finalize this project and actually like well finish the game, because I think that like it is so inspired. You gotta check it out. Like look at how fucking like unique this game looks. This is like a project apparently of an independent, so not even a studio. I really admire how much like how creative it is. Let's check it out. The art style chosen is actually so unbelievable. Like, like the shades, the colors, like everything is like really fucking dope in here. Like, and it's made by an independent, so okay, yeah, not a lot to unpack on this one, but like, I've seen some of other ideas that like this person has. I really root for this project. It's called Iliana. So yeah, check it out and give some love. Give some love to this creator if you can. Okay, so this is a fake trailer for Hollow Knight. I really, really want to see this because I love Hollow Knight. I really adore Hollow Knight. So yeah. Okay. Oh. This is really awesome. I won't comment too much on it. I just get my nostalgia copium. So yeah, really awesome. Okay. Okay, let's watch some AI lore WoW video.
Theramore Isle, also known as Theramore Keep, Theramore City, or simply Theramore.
Wow,
is a
it looks
human
so
port town
different.
located on a rocky island on the eastern fringe of Dustwallow Marsh. Prior to the Night Elf induction into the Alliance, Theramore was considered the Alliance's greatest martial presence in Kalimdor. During the Third War, as Dalaran's destruction became imminent, the High Mage Jaina Proudmoore took as many survivors of Lord Aran she could find to sail west to the forgotten shores of this strange new land. Initially, they were met with outright hostility from the native Night Elves, as well as the Horde, who had recently made landfall in these parts. But eventually, leaders of these three factions came together in the face of a greater threat than any of them could take on their own, the Burning Legion. The war to repel the demonic invasion has its own extensive history, but it is sufficient to say that the demons were driven back. In the aftermath, all surviving humans, dwarves, and high elves of Jaina's expedition settled along the coast of Dustwallow Marsh. Here, they erected the island citadel of Theramore to safeguard the ragtag remnants of the Lord Aran Alliance. But between the survivors in Theramore and orcs present in Durotar, a tension rose. Grand Admiral Dalen Proudmoore, Jaina's father, and the Alliance fleet commander held the city for a time. Still clinging to old hatreds, the elder Proudmoore started a brief but bloody war against the Horde, aided by the far-off island nation of Kultiras, of which he was the de facto ruler. Proudmoore's army besieged the new Orcish homeland, attempting to rid the land of the Horde before it could take root. And while they managed to score several initial victories, making a landing along the shoreline, the Kultiran forces were subject to endless harassment by champions of the Horde. They were unhinged from the province at Tiergard, where supply lines evaporated into a fine mist, and the bulk of the army along with them. The fleet was swiftly recalled back to Theramore, where the Grand Admiral found his fortress now encircled in turn. The Horde had smashed through the blockade, ready to vengefully tear into the last vestige of Lordaeron. It was Jaina Proudmoore, ever the pragmatist, who attempted to facilitate a peace between the Alliance and Horde. But it was Dalen who refused. The ensuing skirmish towards his command post was rapid and merciless, and the war was ultimately ended by Dalen Proudmoore's demise. Today, Theramore Isle is still the home of Jaina Proudmoore, and she remains in command of the Alliance expedition. Despite Jaina's efforts, some within Theramore continue to harbor ill intent upon the Orcs. Even years after the conflict with Durotar, many within Theramore's ranks claim loyalty to Dalen Proudmoore's cause, or wish to settle scores from the old world and continent they left behind.
Wow.
The vast majority of Theramore's inhabitants are deeply loyal to the younger Proudmoore, and they wish to uphold the armistice with the Horde in the region. These are the refugees who crossed oceans to flee the plague of undeath, Magi who watched as their kingdoms disappeared overnight, or ancient heritage destroyed. They are veterans who fought against the Burning Legion at Mount Hyjal, standing side by side with the Orcs against an apocalypse. And they would do so again, should the world need them. Theramore is no longer an island. A bridge has been built, connecting worlds old and new. Each who crosses over makes a choice. They can bring what they choose, but they must leave the rest behind.
Wow.
The tide rolls and batters, but Theramore will not sink below. The sea wall is a threshold, a high watermark of camaraderie, refusing to be anchored by the past. Yet the sea remains tumultuous. Ships churn in the roil, turning exiles into founders, enemies into allies, and even family into foe.
Damn, that was awesome. Thank you, yeah, boy Tyler. I got to learn a little bit about Terror. Thank you so much. Subscribe to yeah, boy Tyler if you never did. He's awesome. Okay, let's watch more yeah, boy Tyler. Let's watch the story of the Western Plaguelands. It is. I want to know.
Western Plaguelands encompass the toxic, rocky foothills in what was once the kingdom of Lordaeron. The agricultural heart of the north has become a dark hellscape of horror, ruin, and endless war.
Wait, just give me a second. Oh, you watched it. Mm. Okay.
Grab your staff.
We got some update about like midnight. What are the new dungeons? Let's check this out. Thank you, Marcelian Online, for the video, and let's check out. Let's discover the eight dungeons. 8 dungeons. That's a lot of dungeons in midnight.
Your sword. And your shield. Grab your staff. Your sword. And your shield. And my axe. Your axe? As in, like, take it from you?
No, because, you know, the thing with the... Okay?
And dive into the new dungeons in midnight to uncover ancient stories, familial tragedies, plot twists, and generally loot.
Like a lot of loot.
Yeah, we're in for that loot.
But no trinkets.
Yeah, they don't exist.
So let us tell you about the new dungeons coming with the Midnight expansion. Starting off with maybe one of the most obvious ones, Windrunner's...
You know what? I don't want to spoil myself with this. Like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I'm 2 months away. Like, I want to discover like the lore of it later. All right, let's check out.
Hi, this is Tony Hawk.
The Wrath of the Lich King interview by Game Reactor. This is like 18 years old. Let's check this out.
Leipzig for the Games Convention 2007.
You're watching Game Reactor
TV!
What was your main objective when you started working on Wrath of the Lich King?
Our main objective was to provide a lot more content for all of our players, as well as new players, by adding new features like our first hero class, the Death Knight. We also wanted to add a new trade skill called Inscription, and a lot of cool other smaller features as well.
I cannot believe it. Like, Inscription was the. There was a time when its Inscription was the thing. You know, like it was the. Oh, it's kind of like this forgotten kind of. Less important, but like it was kind of like jewelry in TBC, you know. And well, who can forget the Death Knight, huh?
Burning Crusade was released. One of the main controversies amongst certain players, at least, was the step from the raid armors and weapons to the new loot from already in Hellfire Peninsula, and there was a lot of anger at that. And now you're doing it all over again, so to speak. What's your general design philosophy when it comes to adding new levels to the game?
Well, in general, we try to reward players as frequently as possible, and part of that means having to replace older items. There are some issues with outdating people's items too quickly, but at the same time, there's a specific problem that occurs before an expansion comes out, which is everybody worrying about what I'm doing right now in the game possibly won't be relevant later on. We find that the psychology actually changes when people start playing the game. We saw this heavily in beta for Burning Crusade, because we didn't have a huge item upgrade. And the players said, there's no point in playing, I never get anything new. So what we try to do is find a nice balancing point. I think players who were in full Naxxramas gear are a good example. They didn't outdate their weapons and armor until Karazhan, or later than Karazhan for a lot of them. And sort of the newer players who might come into WoW and level up in all greens, they were successful in Hellfire Peninsula, able to actually kill things without us having to tune the creatures to the point where other people can sort of interact with them. So it's a very fine balancing point. We want to make sure that people feel good about their items.
Yeah, back then, the epic and rares were still something that like you didn't like had caught that easily. So that's why I talk about it this way. It's interesting. Brings me
Like
back.
they're not getting outdated too soon, but at the same time, we want to make sure that all players, including the hardest of the hardcore, also get item upgrades. I think that's why they're really playing the game, is to kind of get rewarded, and we need to make sure that they get new items.
We asked our readers to come up with a question for you guys, and one of our readers, he wanted to know, you talked a lot about player versus enemy, player versus player, but you haven't talked so much about how you're going to improve role-playing. You talked something about new hairstyles and new moves, dancing. What other plans do you have for the role-playing part of the game?
The big feature for Wrath of the Lich King that we've announced and we've been talking about to improve on the role-playing part of the game is definitely the dance system. It's not just about adding new dance moves, it's actually about letting you customize which dance moves your particular character chooses to do.
This was never implemented.
You might be familiar with a lot of the dances in the game are kind of separate dance moves strung together, and it kind of loops through them randomly. We want to give you a little bit more control over which particular dance moves your character's doing.
Well, at the same time, who cares about dancing in WoW?
The other thing, like you mentioned, are new hairstyles and being able to change the color of your hair as well. We're looking into whether or not we're going to do facial hair, earrings, nose rings, tattoos, that sort of thing as well. So we really want to get you involved with the look and feel of your character.
Wrath of the Lich King, as far as we've heard, will feature Arthas in many ways, and he's the old bad guy from Warcraft 3 and Frozen Throne. Aren't you a bit early in introducing him?
I think that's a really good question. A lot of people keep asking, you know, you're coming out with Wrath of the Lich King, Arthas is the bad guy, aren't we fighting him too soon? What a lot of people have forgotten is that Warcraft is a very old franchise at this point. We've been creating Warcraft lore for a long time.
This is true.
Starting back with Warcraft 1, the original RTS, where it all started. Arthas only came into existence a few years ago in Warcraft 3. He was brand new. He never existed before Warcraft 3, and he was sort of a new thing that we implemented. And we did him in such a way where we made him feel epic and huge, and he became a defining character to the game. So I think it's our responsibility as developers to not only create cool characters, but create a cool world. And I feel like that world can't revolve around one singular person, one singular entity. So we want to constantly come up and develop the next Arthas. Who's that going to be? So we've got a lot of plans, and we're not going to knock Arthas off too soon. We're going to let players have a lot of fun with Arthas first, and he'll probably end up dying in maybe a content patch like Illidan did with Black Temple. That's kind of our plan right now.
Will there be any new mid-level content?
There's definitely going to be new mid-level content, and players aren't going to have to wait for Wrath of the Lich King to play it. Coming up very soon is our Zulaman patch. As part of that patch, we've revamped the zone of Dustwallow Marsh, adding completely new quests to the zone. We always felt like Dustwallow was a very cool place, but it didn't have enough quests and stories to really support all the grand things going on. Like
Zulaman is really like in between. You either hate it or love it. Like, it was so reused, like with the Amani, like
you know, the Shady Rest Inn, Theramore, you know, Onyxia's there, the Black Dragonflight. We also felt like there weren't enough quests to really support it as a zone worth going to. So in patch 2.3, which is the one with Zulaman in it, we're going to feature a Dustwallow Marsh revamp with all new, brand new quests. Some of them are very cool too, like you get to shoot cannons at a giant sea monster as one of the quests. So I think players will find that very new, and that's definitely mid-level. Now, other changes coming to the mid-level game, it's not brand new content, but it's a change we're talking about. We've gone back to a lot of zones like Arathi Highlands and Alterac Mountains and taken all of the elite quests and made them non-elite. We feel like at this point in the game, with the flow of players heading to Outland and eventually Northrend, we needed to ease up on some of that content. So all of those Stromgarde quests where players would get hung up on in Arathi Highlands will now be non-elite.
Yeah, and especially because like at this point, people were not like playing in these zones anymore. So good call of them
And then we're also doing an in-depth
from 18 years ago.
analysis of our leveling curve, specifically between levels 20 and 60, to ease it up a little bit. And what we'll probably do is require less EXP per level, in addition to giving more quest reward EXP and more dungeon reward EXP.
Yes, a personal question. Can you tell us about your character in World of Warcraft and where you're at right now?
I have
Oh, this is interesting, actually.
a
Yeah.
bunch of characters in World of Warcraft. I've actually leveled up on both sides, Horde and Alliance, and I've leveled up multiple different classes. But I find that as one of the lead designers on the game, it's usually better off if I don't mention exactly who my characters are or which classes I'm playing.
Good call, actually. Really good call on him.
But I assure you, I'm playing your class.
I thought I'd try to mention the Death Knight as well, because that's one of the big features. Because you really managed to scare the warriors and the rogues at the same time by saying he can tank and DPS. Can you tell us a little bit more how that's going to work, especially compared to the other classes?
The Death Knight will definitely fill the role of tank and DPS. Now, how exactly the mechanics are going to work, still a little bit to be determined on that. The class is in development presently. It's not completely finished, and we plan to iterate heavily in the beta on how it's going to work. Now, in reference to how it tanks, it will tank differently from a warrior in that it won't need a shield. It will use a two-handed weapon or dual wield and use some of its vampiric abilities to sort of make it a viable tank. One of the exciting things about the Death Knight is that it uses a new resource system called the rune system. Unlike energy or rage, it sort of uses this rune system where it customizes what abilities it uses. But the exact mechanics and how it will compete with, let's say, a Fury or Arms Warrior, or obviously the Rogue's DPS, those are very touchy subjects, and we want to make sure to fully explore his mechanics to make sure that DPS warriors are still viable. And of course, we want Rogues to be our top melee DPS. That's always been our vision, and we'll try to stick with that.
Will there be gnome Death Knights?
I'm very happy and pleased to announce that there will be gnome Death Knights. Currently, our plans are that all classes can, or excuse me, all races will be able to be a Death Knight. Now, something weird might happen in development or as we get into beta, which might change that, but I don't foresee that.
And it
true
was
goal
never
is to make
changed.
Death Knight available to all races, and it really fits the story too.
This was like not a lot much to say, but like this was like interesting to just like kind of like rewatch this bubble, you know, like just kind of like get into this nostalgia. Okay, on different notes, I actually saw this and I'm like, this is interesting. Where does the Grim Reaper comes from? You know, I do not know. Like, it is quite interesting because the Grim Reaper and the Reapers are pretty much like well represented in Western culture, but like, where does it come from? Like, especially because like when it was when it became popular, when it got popularized, like pretty much like this was like like it was never seen as a devilish like a figure for the church, but at the same time it is really dark, and it was never like well, I don't know, it was Western, like it wasn't like the sender to hell, it wasn't a demon, so really curious to see that actually.
Equipped with an hourglass to remind us that death will come to all, and wielding a scythe to harvest unfortunate souls, he reaps what has been sown, hence the name, the Grim Reaper. Nowadays, the Grim Reaper has become a pop culture icon, recognised across the world in books, comics, TV
Yeah.
shows, movies and games as a quintessential symbol of death. And whilst we're so familiar with who the Grim Reaper is and what he does, we are less certain about its origins. Where does the Grim Reaper come from? The answer may surprise you. So, many world myths and cultures have some sort of personification of death, especially in the form of a god or goddess. The Greeks had Thanatos, literally translating to death. He is sometimes depicted as a beautiful winged man, occasionally cloaked in black and carrying a sword, but in later depictions, Thanatos appears as a little winged boy, similar to Cupid, this time who carries an upside-down torch, eerily representing a life extinguished. The Aztecs have Mictequehuatl, the queen of the realm of the dead, who rules the afterlife with Mictlantecutli, her husband. Hindu and Buddhist mythologies have King Yama, who rides atop a buffalo holding a lasso to drag souls into the afterlife. As Buddhism spread to the Far East, so too did he. In China, King Yama turned into King Yan, and in Japan as King Enma. But another common symbol for death, other than a god, is a spectral figure who escorts the living into the world of the dead. Look at these ancient North American cave paintings. They feature these otherworldly beings who are believed to represent spirits that accompany souls into the afterlife. And you may have heard of Charon in Greek myth, a hooded figure who ferries the recently deceased over the river Styx in their passage to the underworld, all for a fee of course. And in Korean myth, there is the netherworld emissary, the Josung Saja. He's depicted as a strict bureaucrat, attempting to meet his busy quota of souls for the day. Now these personifications of death are along the right lines for the Grim Reaper, a figure that appears at the moment of death to take you away with him. So where does he come from? Well, it's not really the Bible, at least not as a cloaked skeleton wielding a scythe. The Angel of Death, sometimes known as Azrael, is often seen as the strongest candidate. But the Bible doesn't really offer any physical description of the angel, no skulls and scythes in sight, and the Angel of Death's job is to kill people. The Grim Reaper doesn't really do the killing here. Perhaps the Grim Reaper is one of the 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse mentioned in the Book of Revelations. After all, Death, the final horseman of the Apocalypse, is the only one that's actually named. But again, there's no physical description offered for a Grim Reaper. In Greek, the language of the original script, the horseman is actually named Thanatos, Death, the same name for the deity of death in the myths of ancient Greece, and arguably a closer inspiration for this biblical character. So instead of the Bible, there may be good reason to believe that the Grim Reaper comes from a series of folklores across Europe. In the Netherlands, there exists the Merger Hein, also known as the Beenderman, Bone Man. Similar to the Grim Reaper in looks, the Merger Hein is a skeletal figure who appears at times of death and pestilence. But perhaps the closest parallel comes from Celtic folklore, in a being known as the Anku. An Anku appears as a man or a skeleton, and it wears a cloak and often wields a scythe, and in some stories is described as a shadow, often atop of a cart collecting the dead. He's even said to wear a black robe, with a large hat which conceals his face. He's one of Death's henchmen, and his job ranges from protecting graveyards to collecting souls on Death's behalf. And according to a later Christian legend, the Anku was the first child of Adam and Eve. From these figures, the modern Grim Reaper first emerged. It coincided with, and was likely caused, by a key event in the mid-14th century. Around 1346, a mysterious disease had arrived to Europe from Asia, and people were becoming infected by the millions. Now known as the Black Death, it became one of the worst pandemics that has ever existed. To your average medieval peasant, it would seem that the end times were close. The foul stench of rotting flesh was everywhere. Dead bodies lined the streets, were loaded into carts, and dumped into plague pits. During its peak years of 1346 to 1353, the total number of deaths in Europe could be anywhere between 45 to 60%, more than half of Europe dead within a few years. And it wasn't just Europe. The Black Death may have reduced the global population from an estimated 475 million to 350 million, just
Damn.
a quarter of Earth's human population. Death was everywhere, and the motif of skeletons, disease and mortality became extremely prevalent in art and literature. An idea known as the Dance of Death, or Danse Macabre, quickly emerged. Death became a personified and ever-present figure who did not discriminate between good or bad, rich or poor, holy or unholy. Kings and peasants were the same, and will just as likely join Death's gruesome dance. All this likely combined with those pre-existing figures of folklore, such as the Merger Hein or the Anku, and all were homogenized into one single skeletal figure, the Grim Reaper. And since then, The Grim Reaper made its way into the hearts, minds, and nightmares of everyday folk. So real or not is ultimately up to you. But in the case of the Grim Reaper, let's hope to never find that one out ourselves. Hey.
So not a lot of information. Thank you, Ochilaga, for like the video. Like I get, to be honest, I don't want to be that guy, to be that guy. But I actually like guess that like it was like from folklore rather than, like I said, it doesn't come from the Bible. It is like, I guess like it is a being that is represented like, or that ascended during moments where like where and became popularized, where the flesh became the enemy of health. And a god with flesh will not be believed in because of how weak flesh became because of the Black Plague. I don't know, but it was interesting to just know that like basically like, okay, it comes from like the Black Plague, and it as macabre as the figure itself. It's interesting. Let's check out Stellar Blade. Ever heard of Stellar Blade? I actually didn't heard of Stellar Blade. I saw some Stellar Blade, and basically I saw some Stellar Blade content, and basically I understand that like it is like quite the fascinating game, and quite the game for Sims. So yeah, let's check it out.
From the developers that gave us mobile games with jiggly anime women and jiggly anime women with guns, comes Shift Up's first foray into the big boy console verse that boldly asks the question, what if Nier Automata was made by Koreans? Stellar Blade. Slide into another title in the sexy women with sword genre, as the artist known for their extremely oily designs brings us a shiny new lady to annihilate hordes of monsters with, which like every other game from this genre, came with its own heaping helping of controversy, as it's lambasted for being too spicy, lambasted for it not being as spicy as it was originally, but ultimately praised as a great action game that certainly gives you exactly what they advertise, and then some.
Which is actually
Wonder what that's for. Oh, I get it. Explore the vast wastelands of post-apocalyptic
Which is actually
Earth
surprising.
as natural resources have died out. Genetically modified creatures skulk around every corner, and AI runs rampant. So basically just us in like 10 years. Who am I kidding? 3 years tops. Then slip into the vinyl tights of Eve, a superhuman android K-pop idol, on a quest to get rid of a horrible scourge. That sounds like old people yogurt.
A yogurt called Activia that can help.
Which will have you mulching your way through anything with an abnormal number of teeth in order to uncover the silent history that brought Earth to the state it's in. And all while wearing the most impractical heels since Jurassic World. Ugh, that cannot be good for those arches. Explore the expansive rusty dustbin that the world has become as you sprint around, unlocking rest points in what appears to be a mostly vending machine-based economy. Run a bunch of errands for people that look like they're late for a cyberpunk-themed rave. Pilfer dead bodies for goodies. And explore every dark corner you can see on your map, all in order to gather materials to upgrade your skills and weapons, so you don't get one-shotted by a dude with a chainsaw for a face. Let's be honest though, we're digging through trash mostly for the costumes. I mean, look, if I'm gonna save the world, I'm gonna save it like I'm about to play beach volleyball. Who knew Monster was this flattering? Slash into the most stellar part of Blade, its combat mechanics, which mix fast-paced action and third-person shooting and will make you feel like a sexy dolphin made of knives. Or if you're over 30,
Selfie
like a big
dolphin
old
made
beached
of
whale,
knives.
as you miss your dodge and parry timing to get absolutely bodied. Or spend most of your health to take down one guy, only to get killed by some little weenie monster you didn't see. In fun and reactive gameplay that hits just right when you get the timings perfect, but hits back hard when you don't. I mean, sure, it's not as challenging as a Soulsborne, but it's certainly easier on the eyes to watch Eve dodge around the field than a dude in armor rolling around like a concussed armadillo. So squeeze into that bodysuit and get ready to raise those cans for an action RPG experience with an intriguing story and captivating visuals. That, despite the discourse over its aesthetics, isn't just skin deep. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to save humanity. These earrings really bring out my eyes. Starring New Jeans, Discord boyfriend. Chippa chippa cheerio. Oh, she seems cool. Come on, really? What Ask Jeeves looks like now. Every K-beauty influencer.
You don't have to put on the red light.
I knew Anya would survive the apocalypse. Sentient salon dryer. Do you get Dolby surround sound? These very cool-looking ladies. That's so not Raven. And the superior Tamagotchi.
The superior Tamagotchi. What the fuck?
You know, it's cool that you have the world's deadliest scrunchie and all, but it kind of defeats the purpose when you can't use it as a stabby thing when you need it. I thought this was the future. Kind of defeats the purpose. You know, it's cool that you have the world's deadliest scrunchie and all, but it kind of defeats the purpose when you can't use it as a stabby thing when you need it. I thought this was the future. Like, why does your sword even need a Wi-Fi connection? Comment below on what you want to hear in my epic voice.
This is awesome. If you don't know, on this game trailers, they also do cinema trailers. Subscribe to them, like, give them some love. Yeah. All right. All right. I am done for now. I'll see you another time, and as always, be toxic.